Hey guys, today's tutorial is on this Glam Look using all my favorite products of January. So the first thing I always do is use a brow pencil that's about 2 shades lighter than my eyebrow hairs. This is my first favorite of the month. It's the Benefit Cosmetics Goof Proof Brow Pencil in number 3. I love to use this because it stays put all day without fading, and it's incredibly easy to use as sort of like a guide to get a general brow shape down so that I can fill it in darker and define more later once the makeup is done. Another Benefit product for my second favorite of the month, it's the Stay Don't Stray Eyeshadow Primer in light medium. I use this every time to prime my eyelids before using eyeshadows. It works as an amazing base because it kind of like sucks all the oil from my lids to prevent the shadows from creasing. I can also get way better color payoff with my eyeshadows when I use this. Favorite palette of the month right here, the adorable, super cute Too Faced Clover eyeshadow palette. It has 18 neutral and colorful shadows that have great pigmentation, and they're just so fun to play around with. So the first thing I did for this look was put a light transitional shade through the crease. This shadow is called Chihuahua, placing it in the center of the crease first, then blending inwards to the inner corner of the eye, and finally back to the outer corner, winging it out a bit past my actual crease to elongate the eyes. Switching over to a flat brush here, picking up the shade Fur Baby, a milk chocolate matte to the outer corner of the eyelid first, slowly packing this on, working it inwards as you go. So this is going to be our darker base to help the next shadow that we use look even more vibrant. So make sure to really blend the edges of the shadow near the inner corners with your fingers to soften up that line there. Apply Too Faced glitter glue to the center of your lids for maximum pigmentation. It just sticks right to the lid. It is so easy to use, taps right on top of any eyeshadow. And then using the same flat brush from before, pick up the eyeshadow Best Friends. It's a maroon shade with a really cool teal shift, kind of depending on how the light hits it. So pretty. Definitely one of my favorites from the palette. I packed that on right over the darker brown, building it up in layers. Be careful though not to over apply this. When it gets into the crease, more of the redness in it shows through, and it can create a pretty intense smoky eye real quick. So keep this on the lower end, focusing it mostly on that lid area, blending the edges of that too, up into the outer corner of the crease, same as the previous shadow. Now using a smaller, loosely packed blending brush, I'm going in with this dark navy to create some dimension to the eye by deepening that outer V area. This is the only brush I ever used for outer V work. If you guys are familiar with my tutorials, you've seen me use this a million times because it helps to give me more control. I can easily build up any darker shadow in a very precise area with light layers, so it's never too dark. I always like to blend my darker shadows inwards so that they blend in well with the lid color, then going back in with our blending brush from before and making sure the edges are nice and soft. For the liner, I like to use It Cosmetics Superhero. This is my favorite liner of the month. I love it because it never comes off. It stays put literally all day, and it has a super saturated black formula. So since I was going for a glam look, I decided to draw the wing up pretty far past the edge of my eye so that I could add more drama. But since we worked really hard on the shadows, I didn't want to cover them up with huge dramatic lashes, so instead I used these Demi Wispies from Salon Perfect. You can get these at Walmart actually. They're a little over $8 a pack for 5 pairs, which I think is a pretty good deal. And these are my everyday lashes right now. I currently wear them like basically every single day, and they're the most perfect length for smaller eyes. They spread out in a very natural way, almost like a bunch of individual lashes together. They're just so pretty, and it also has a pretty thin band too, so they're incredibly easy to apply. I just used Cella tweezers and Duo lash glue in dark tone. Next favorite of mine for the month is this new Rose Flash Balm by Pixi. I love it because it's a 3-in-1 product. It works as a hydrating mask, a moisturizer, and a primer, so you get that awesome revitalized feeling to your skin. It makes it look a lot less tired and dull than it really is, and as you rub it in, you can tell, like you can really feel that it's smoothing everything out too, just like a primer would. Go-to foundation of the month right here since I ran out of my Bare Minerals Bare Skin foundation. This is a pretty close drugstore dupe, I think. It has the same kind of finish, not as good coverage, but it looks and feels so similar on the skin. It's the True Match Lumi foundation from L'Oreal. I have mine in True Beige. It gives a beautiful, radiant finish. I like to think that it tricks the eye, makes your skin look so much healthier than it really is. I just put it on with my fingers first to distribute the product over my face, and then I push it in gently with tapping motions using also another monthly favorite, my e.l.f. highlighting sponge. IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer in neutral medium. This is a staple in my makeup collection. So great for brightening the center of the face, incredibly creamy. I always work it onto the back of my hand first like this, just rubbing my finger back and forth to warm up the product, and then apply it wherever needed. It has the most fullest coverage, so you absolutely don't need much to get the job done. I apply it wherever I want brightness and coverage. Too Faced Peach Perfect Mattifying Setting Powder. I'm using the e.l.f. sponge too, but I make sure to blot off the excess onto the back of my hand like this before putting it onto the skin, because when I don't do that, my skin gets very dry and the makeup kind of separates. It just looks awful with any powder that I ever use, so I have to be really careful. My skin definitely prefers creams over powders, but I do love to use this directly under the eyes to prevent that area from creasing, a little around the nose, and lately I've also been putting it under my cheeks as well on that lower half of my face, kind of mattify that down to help the makeup look better in pictures or for filming, and it also helps the foundation to last longer. Another huge favorite of mine, the LA Girl HD Concealer in Almond. I use this to warm up my face, give it some life and color. I brush this along the outer corners of my face, starting with the cheekbones, keeping it close to the hairline when I first lay it down, so that way it doesn't blend out too far when I'm using my sponge. Temples of the forehead, sides of the nose, and tip of the nose to help slim it down, and also my jawline area and chin. One of the main reasons I love using this so much, besides the fact that it has great coverage too, is because you guys can see it blends out so quickly. I mean, it's no work at all. Just a few taps onto the skin with my blending sponge and it's done. Doesn't need any setting either. It lasts all day just like that. e.l.f. Contouring Blush and Bronzing Cream in St. Lucia. Oh my gosh, this is just such an amazing palette. I love both the blush and the bronzer, but the bronzer I definitely use the most because it's slightly darker than the other one from LA Girl. So I'll just hit like the 6 points on my face. So the cheekbones, temples, tip of the nose, and tip of the chin. Blend it out with the blending sponge. And I just feel like it really helps to deepen things up in a very natural way. For the cheekbone highlight, I've been loving this light golden shade, also known as Rodeo Drive. It's in a tiny travel size palette now, along with other great highlighters that I like to use too, Blissful and Pillow Talk. These highlighters look best on my skin when I use the warmth of my finger to blend them in, kind of like using circular motions. It helps it to melt into the skin. Fan brushes are the devil for me. They've never worked. I do like to use the e.l.f. highlighting stick along the bridge of my nose, and then I pat over it with a very light powder so that it's not as obvious and sparkly, but still bright. It just looks a lot more natural that way, I think. I just kind of tap it on and blend it out with the sponge. Back to the lower lash line, same shadows as the top eyelid. Start with the light brown, bring it from outer to inner corner, and then blend it downwards to make the eyes appear larger. Go in with the darker shades, the chocolate brown first, keeping it closer to the lash line, but also taking it from inner to outer corner. Then pick up the lid color and that awesome dark navy. Contour the lash line with this, focusing it right where the lashes grow. Make sure it is blended out nicely though. You definitely don't want a straight line there. And then lastly, pick up this gorgeous highlight called Puppy Eyes. You want to work that right into the inner corner and brow bone to brighten up the eyes. Finish the eye look with your favorite mascara. I went for my current fave, the Tarte Lash Paint Mascara. I love how the formula is more on the wet side, so it's easy to brush it onto my natural lashes. It helps them meld right into the falsies. Because the formula is so dark, I really only need one quick coat of it and my lashes are done. Simple and quick. For the eyebrows, I used my favorite OFRA Cosmetics waterproof brow gel in dark brown. It's such a great formula for drawing in any kind of eyebrow shapes. I used it today for a dramatic brow look. A little goes a long way with this. Highly pigmented, so easy to use. Pick up only a little bit of it though onto your angle brush and then wipe off the sides onto the jar just to make sure that you're not applying too much. I like to start at the tail first where I want the brow to be darkest. Then with whatever is left, I run it through the middle of the brow and finally just a little bit into the inner corners. For the lips, I used my favorite of the month, this GERARD Cosmetics lip pencil in Spice to line the outer rims of both top and bottom lip. I love how it's so creamy. It lasts a long time too. And then I applied the new Buxom Vava Plump Shiny Liquid Lipstick in Taupe It Off. Their products are so amazing. I love them. They're always really good for plumping up the lips. All the shades I have are so bold and they last a long time. It's crazy. And that's it for the finished look, although I did go back and touched up the eyeshadow a bit because I felt like something was missing. I wanted to add purple into the outer crease area to pull the blue and the browns together. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. I wish I had thought of this earlier in the tutorial, but I was doing my usual posing thing and I'm like, man, something is missing. So back into the eyeshadow palette, you guys can see I'm picking up first Paw Print, the lighter of the two purples there, and working that through the crease, kind of going really softly, light pressure, inner to outer corner. And then I'm picking up, I think it's called Cuddle Buddy, and really pressing that into the outer corner of the crease and just kind of lightly blending out the edges. I'm not bringing it too far up, keeping it more on the lower side of the crease, you know, just as a nice transition. Then I fixed up my eyeliner, and that is truly it for the makeup tutorial. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see next. I definitely want to film a lot more videos for you guys. I love doing makeup tutorials and I thought that this was kind of like a really cool idea, instead of just sitting in my room talking about makeup, to actually use the makeup that I've been loving so much. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys in my next video.